Greetings, everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. It's certainly been a great day for the folks over in Barcelona at Epic Teller Studios. Their Kickstarter yesterday was a smashing success. Really happy for them, and I can't wait to finally get it Starfinder Afterlight in my hands. So in today's video, I'm gonna basically walk through the Kickstarter, tell you a little bit about where it stands right now. It's almost at 350,000, super crazy. But there's nothing in this video that I think is going to be like totally new information for you, just to say that up front. But we're going to walk through the different details. So for those of you who haven't seen the Kickstarter, this might be interesting for you. And even if you saw it right at the beginning, you might not have seen some of the updated tiers. So with all that, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so here's the Kickstarter page, and I will leave a link down in the description below. And you can see it currently sits at $346,000 when the original goal was 87,000. So no question, this has been really successful, and I am so happy for them. Can't wait to see how this impacts the quality of the game. Now, there were 5,800 people who came together to provide this amount, and we still have 28 days to go. So who knows where the Kickstarter will end up at the end. Now, if you scroll down, of course, it provides some general information about Starfinder Afterlight. This is the first CRPG in their science fantasy universe. So, of course, Owlcat made games in the fantasy Pathfinder universe. Starfinder is essentially the science fantasy version of that in the future. Now, interesting note here, they did, like I hope, confirmed which specific ancestries are going to be in the game. And there's going to be Android, Human, Kasatha, Lashanta, Sharon, Vesk, and Yosoki. And there's actually a couple of other ancestries that have been added because of how high the Kickstarter has risen. What I didn't realize, I gave an expanded list of classes that will be available in the game, but actually all those classes are not available in 2E right now. And so Epic Tellers is going to stick with the list of classes that are currently available in the 2E tabletop, and that is Envoy, Mystic, Operative, Solarian, Soldier, and Witch Warper. And they've already confirmed this list of classes will not be expanded prior to launch. In fact, in an interesting note, most of the new things you get in this Kickstarter will not come at launch. They basically have a very firm idea of what the game is supposed to be at launch, and they're going to use some of this money to just make that better. And then after launch, they will add the additional content that we have been able to receive based on how high the Kickstarter has gotten. They're going to add that as free post-game DLC to help ensure that they're able to remain on schedules. I'm curious to find out how long we'll have to wait before we get a version of the game that takes in all of the Kickstarter additions into account. But moving on, this game is turn-based tactical combat, which you all already know I love. Level up and collect alien gear while battling cultists under the Hive Market and unspeakable horrors drifting through the diaspora. Sounds super cool. It is a branching narrative, so your choices are going to matter. In fact, they specifically told us at the media event, Epic Tellers is trying to make a very big game that you're only going to be able to see half of. So there should be a lot of replayability across not only your choices, but also how you deal with your companions. It seems like you can influence what path your companions go down, and it is possible that some companions will decide to leave your group. Speaking of companions, you can romance all of them, and there are a few people outside of your crew that you can romance as well. I didn't know that there were going going to be multiple difficulty nodes, but of course that makes sense. So great to hear that those of you who want a really challenging tactical experience will hopefully be able to get that from playing Starfinder. They did already mention that you can play solo, recruit mercenaries. I didn't talk about this in the last video, but they did say up front it's really important to them that mods can easily play around with this game and add new content. So they're looking to add mod support up front, and I think that could be very exciting. And then of course it's supposed to be a 40 to 60 hour campaign. They provided a list of some of the different companions, which of course we've already went through. Cold, Tycho. Preach is the one I know the least about. He's probably going to be, he or she, I actually don't know which one they are, but whoever they are, they're probably going to be a mainstay of my party. I love the look and design of this character. So apparently this is the Shirin ancestry, which I think we can play as, right? Let me check. Yeah, so that's one of the ancestries we could play as, although I assume we probably don't get to have a little cute larva running around with us while we're fighting. But I'm definitely interested in learning more about this character, and I'm a big fan of Lou as well. I think her character model is super cool. There's a 2-minute video on the Kickstarter from Neil Newbon that I hadn't seen before, talking about his excitement and how much he's looking forward to helping create this game. You all already know his energy is always amazing, and this is no question. They also added a list of some of the voice talent that's currently involved in the game. I showed you all a picture of them during the video yesterday. They have not announced yet who is voicing Preach, but you do have the opportunity to take a little listen to some of the work that they're doing right now. This seems like a pretty professional group, so thus far I'm really happy what we've heard. Of course, there are a bunch of different packages you can purchase if you want to be a part of the Kickstarter. Right now I believe we would still be in that 48-hour window, so you could get a full digital game at a discount, in-game dice, and of course credit tier, and a Discord role. I have to look into the Discord role, see how I'm supposed to get that. Sorry, again, a reminder, I'm on call this week, so that's why I'm not silencing my phone so you all don't hear that ding. I don't want to take a chance of missing a call. But as you buy higher level versions of the package, you're going to get access to more and more stuff. I think that dice looks super cool. And then you could do other things like name an NPC in the game, get your cat in space, which is hilarious, commission a portrait. I actually really like that portrait, think it looks super cool. Companions and enemies pack. You can get a, and I actually might get this, you can get a Starfinder player core book that's modeled after Afterlight, and it comes with the character sheets for the different companions, which I showed screenshots of during the last video. A couple of you mentioned you felt like those character sheets were really well done, and I agree. And again, it makes me even more interested in what are going to be our options in character creation. Oh, another thing, a couple of you had mentioned you were under the impression that character creation was not going to be a part of the base game, and that the Kickstarter was one of the, and that was one of the reasons that the Kickstarter was being done, to add in character creation. That's not the case. Character creation was always going to be a part of this game, and obviously considering how much of a smashing success the Kickstarter was, character creation will definitely be a part of your experience. All right, now we get to the different stretch goals and tiers that have been achieved. So the game is fully funded now, just at $75K. That's really all that they had asked for in order to do the basic things that they want to do, add some more voice acting, flesh some things out in the game, etc. Then the next tier goal was to add Skittermanders as an ancestry we can play, and that goal has been reached. So if you want to be a cute little multi-arm creature, you will have the ability to do that at some point in the game. Then next up, they wanted to add additional voices. So now every main villain is going to get full voice acting from first encounter to final confrontation. Super cool. Then they have also added added Patras, which I guess is a catfolk race, into the game. So you'll be able to play as them. And then next up, this has actually already been achieved, guest artist portraits and voice packs. So hopefully we're going to see some really cool, well-designed portraits for many of the major characters that are in the game. And then very shortly, probably by the time you have seen this video, they at 350,000 are going to add expanded voiceover, which means there's going to be significantly more voice acting for secondary quests. This was something that we talked about in the last video, basically saying that if they can, they'd like to get as much voice acting into the game as possible. Because this has reached 350K, looks like that's going to be viable. It'll be very, very interesting to see how much voice acting actually ends up in the game, but all the way around, I think this is awesome. And they don't have additional tiers yet. I don't know if they expected this Kickstarter to be as successful as it was. It seemed like it took a long time, sometimes, and this comes from someone who was monitoring it throughout the day, right? Which most people were not doing. But it just seemed like it took a long time after certain metrics were hit for them to add new metrics, right? Like, to me, if you want to keep that momentum going, you want as many people buying it as possible. When one metric gets passed, you add that other one in there, let them know, hey, keep buying, y'all, because you're about to get this. You don't want to have these extended periods where there's no additional, where it's not clear what the next goal is. But anyway, so beyond that, they did provide an interesting timeline explaining what they see as the future of the development here, right? So pre-production is already complete. They already have the vertical slice, the 2E rules are implemented, and the voice cast is confirmed. And that happened back in March. Now, we've already passed August, which was the public reveal, and they wanted to launch alongside the Starfinder 2E official release, which is what happened. So next up is what I already spoke about. In Q2 of 2026, they want to have early access launch. Act 1 releases with 10 to 15 hours of gameplay, meet your companions and explore the hive market. Your feedback starts shaping the game. So basically, the core gameplay loop is already done, and they're going to release 10 to 15 hours of that in the next year, and then they're going to spend the following year implementing feedback from the community and determining how best to flesh out and polish the game. And then in 2027, they plan for the full game release, a 40 to 60 hour adventure, all X, all endings, all possibilities, explore multiple worlds, etc., etc. And then after the full game that they've already come up with is released, they will then add as free post-release content the stretch goals that the Kickstarter has achieved. And so these additional ancestries and some of the stuff that was mentioned is not going to be in the game on day one. Now, that is part of the reason why I have the question of how much voice acting is actually going to be in the game. Like, I'm curious, is there going to be a large portion of the voice acting missing in the beginning, where it's actually like 3 to 6 months after launch when all the villains are voice acted, the majority of side quests are voice acted, etc., etc. I think that's going to be a very, very interesting question, but we'll see. And then they talked about some of the things that I already discussed in the video yesterday. Current funding does already cover the game. They have 60 hours of game, 6 companions with personal quest lines. It's turn-based. There are multiple endings, and this ships regardless. We're committed. So even if the Kickstarter had not done well, this game was still going to come out. But obviously, by having backers, they can enhance voices, they can provide more character creation options, and give more voice packs and portraits, things of that nature. Super, super cool stuff. And that's it. That's where the game stands right now. I think it obviously looks very, very exciting. Cannot wait to see what they've come up with. Leave me your thoughts and your comments down below. What kind of content do you all want to see on this game? What would you like to receive from me? I'm definitely planning to keep tracking this and keep making content for it. And so I'd be happy to provide whatever you all are looking for. As always, if you want to support the channel, there are links down in the description where you can join as a member or join the Patreon. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, hit that bell so you don't miss any content. Hope all of you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.